my god. Yeah. Stop following me. Pretty much your top priority in portrait commissions is to get the figures accurate so that the client can actually recognize who they want in their picture. I refine my compositions into two options to present. One that is a little more risky, more creative, another that I guess is easier to digest. Come take a closer look at what I mean. Because once the client picks and I go with it, there's no turning back after we start painting. All of the creative process you can find in the Sketch With Me video. I want to open up with some tips because through the course of the last year's painting, I've really refined my creative flow. As soon as I wake up, what I eat, what I put on my face, what I wear, I make as little decisions as possible because you need to save all of that cognitive power for later when it's time to execute your creative project. You know what I mean? Ever since I redid my office and I'm not painting against the wall anymore, I used to have this IKEA shelf that I put my frame on. So this is my DIY standing desk. As you can see, it would be really nice to get an official standing desk, but all the companies that were talking to me would like ghost me because they realized that I wanted paid work for my work. Payment, oh my god. So we'll see if I manifest another standing desk, but for now you can make a lot out of very little. Another couple things I love is having color separated my paints into whites, warms, and cool tones, and making sure that when I stand to paint I have a floor mat because this is concrete. It's not great for your joints. It's very tiring on your back when you do like 9-hour paint sessions. I love my glass palette, but I was a dummy and I bought the wrong plastic container. And this plastic container allows me to put a lid on this at the end of the day and continue using this palette, and it doesn't dry, so I'm kind of prioritizing that at the moment. My underpaintings are very arbitrary, as in the color I pick doesn't have to really look anything close to the final product. Traditionally, underpaintings serve as value mapping, which means you put in the shadows and the descriptions of the highlights, most of the time using just one color. That way when you come in with the real painting, you can already tell like where you need to reserve the lightest shades and whatever. But I kind of just use underpaintings as a way to cover up the white of the canvas a lot of times. And then when I go in with midtones, I purposely don't cover all of the underpainting, which gives it a nice glow around most of the time the borders of your subject and the background. And that can be a very fun artistic choice. If you rewind to the beginning of this video in my sketchbook, you'll see that I have actually listed out a bunch of paint colors I wanted to use. So it was great that, again, when I came to paint the day of, I didn't have to make too many decisions because past me already told me I'm using this shade of blue, I'm using this shade of purple. What you choose really sets the tone because I try to limit my palette to 5 or less colors or else it will get very muddy. As much as possible, try to mix the ones that you're already working with to see just how many different colors and hues and shades you can make because the combinations are endless. I love using photo references that I capture myself because I want to evoke a certain feeling, and in this case, my photo I took in Norway was of dusk and the moon was out, and it was such a tranquil, beautiful feeling, and I wanted to translate that into this painting. And I've always regretted it when I would do the sky last, so I'm doing myself a favor and I'm starting with the sky because it's going to stay wet for a couple of days and I can always edit it. Back to what I wanted to say about the routine stuff. When it comes to creativity, you might have heard at some point that inspiration is not spontaneous. And, I've experienced a sort of art block myself where I stare at a blank page and I can feel my motivation and confidence wither away the more I try to make something great, and I hope for this instant gratification of a finished result, like a lightning strike of inspiration. But really, inspiration is derivative of research and structure, and focus can be thought of the same way. That's my long-winded explanation to explain the importance of trusting the process, of committing to your plans, because in this stage of a painting is sometimes when I start to feel a little bit urgent and like I'm freaking out on the inside because I'm struggling a little bit. For the last few hours, I have literally been like half panicking as I'm making this painting because I'm discovering it as I go along. There's a lot of improvisation when it comes to surrealist paintings. That's part of the discipline, is to focus and not get distracted by the worries of this is not quite what I want it to look like yet. And just knowing that you have the tools to keep working at it, because oil paint is very forgiving. I love this medium. I paint wet on wet a lot, but sometimes it can help to give it a couple of days, wait for it to dry. I love when oil paint is tacky because it's still mixable, yet you can layer colors on top quite easily. I really need it to dry in order to add the next pops of color. I've been trying to do that, but it's been a struggle, I'm not gonna lie. It gets muddy very easily. It's hard to layer on new bright shades without your brush getting screwed over every time you make a new stroke. So that is it for the time being. So this brings us to the end of the video. It's not quite the end of the painting. It's not finished, so a little part of me is bummed out that I'm not able to deliver the final look of the painting for the Wednesday deadline. If you're new here, I'm trying to post every Wednesday, basically a lot of times my videos come out like near 11 p.m., but that's at least Eastern time. So if you're based on the West Coast in America, it's like afternoon to evening. Perhaps I will show you on my Instagram or something. I tend to make a lot of reels or shorts of glazing the final finished work with varnish. But at the moment, like reflecting on it, I feel like I still have some tweaks I want to make because the colors don't look as harmonious as I want to, and when it comes to color mixing, I feel very intuitive about it, so I can't even quite tell you why, other than the fact that there are really dark values that come from the cat's natural coat, which I'm not really sure if I want to alter too much. So yeah, I'm gonna do a little more thinking on it. And I just want to say a quick shout out to my lovely client who commissioned this piece, because it's not every day that I get to play around with surrealism in my pet portraiture gig, and I'm very grateful for such a fun request. So that is it to the paint with me. Let me know how you feel about my commentary, because sometimes I don't want to be too obvious where I'm just making my voiceover and talking about exactly what I'm doing, and I want to add like a more storytelling element to it. And I don't know if you take away more from that, or from if I were to just describe my more technical thoughts so that it could help you in your painting process. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure how much of the viewers of these types of videos are ones that like enjoy it for entertainment or for your own art making. If you also paint or do digital art, let me know. So that is that. Also, lastly, I've been getting some comments here and there of like new people visiting the channel. If you don't know anything about me, I went to art school. I started my YouTube channel back then, and many years later I moved to Brooklyn, and then a little bit after that I started this gift shop with the help of my family. My mom runs this with me, and I oftentimes can be found here in the art studio and corner store gift shop. So that's where I am. So maybe to sign off on this, just gonna say goodbye in the store. Come with me. It's sunset, it's golden hour. How lovely. And here we are. The sunshine and these big windows. I can't wait to do some fun window displays coming up in next month's vlogs and stuff. If you have visited, thank you so much. I don't know why I'm squatting, like I'm taking a poo or something. I don't know how to, I used to just dance to end my videos. See you next time.